My name is Gabriella Hall, and I am Danceability's marketing and communications intern, where I interview very special, important guests, such as yourself, about the work of their organizations and a lot of their contributions to the Western New York dance community. But let's get into you. Just can you give me a brief introduction about who you are and what it is that you do?
Yes. So I am Jenny Laroche. I graduated from SUNY Buffalo. So I live in New York City. That's where my ties come from, Western New York. And I am a Broadway, television, and film actress, dancer, singer, performer, as well as choreographer. And I began the Laroche Approach, which is my seminar program that we'll be talking about, which offers private lessons as well as seminars, mainly for colleges and different like universities and some studios that want to kind of dive into the industry talks, if you will, and workshops. And that's a little bit about me. I'm Haitian American, originally from Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and I have a large family, and I'm pregnant.
Oh,
I think I told you that.
congratulations!
Side note, expecting my baby girl in about a month now. So,
Oh, that's so exciting. Congratulations. Well, I don't want to get off track about what you're doing with your organization, obviously. That sounds incredible, everything that you offer. Where did the interest in Broadway come from?
I've always been interested in Broadway. I think growing up, especially like middle school, high school, our dance studio, we would always have a very like kind of well-rounded, like competitive genre, if you will. So we always did musical theater. And I've always loved musical theater because we got to, it felt more like play, like drama, for me. And I'm quite dramatic. And so just being able to like dive into characters that, especially at the time, felt very unconventional for me. I always loved it, but I didn't know if there was a place for me. And when I saw Chicago and like musicals like Sweet Charity, I was like, "Ooh, wait, there are women that look like me. I can do this maybe someday." That was like my hopeful, ambition. And then I went to college, and we focused more, that program particularly, SUNY Buffalo, focused more on technique and like modern dance and jazz dance and ballet. And I think that's when I decided that I didn't want to go the dance company route. It wasn't enough for me with everything that I wanted to do, but I got to focus so much on my training there and refining my technique because I was so not ready for the real world yet in terms of like having a professional career. So it really gave me the time to not just hone in on, oh, okay, I want to do musical theater, but gave me the time to really develop as a musical theater artist.
Did you always have the aspiration to go on and then teach others, or did that come after a certain point of like, okay, I'm not going the company route, but I'm like really good at this. What am I going to do with this?
It definitely came a little later. I taught when I was in college. I've pretty much taught since high school. It was just always like something I was either assisting someone or I was going to substitute a class. But it wasn't something that I thought I was going to do, but I always liked it. And my dad actually always told me I had like a knack for it. And in high school, I got my early childhood education like certification. That was one of the things that I did. And so I was like, okay, it was always going to be like kind of a fallback career, I think. And when I started teaching in college, there was still something missing from
Mhm.
teaching. And when I started doing more private lessons and when I started working in the industry and really discovering what needed to be taught and not just what I was teaching at the time, because I felt like I was just teaching dance and teaching ballet bar and teaching, across the floor, which is great and fine and fun. but I was like, I feel like I can add something more to what I'm teaching. And then I started judging dance competitions, and again, all about discovery. I started as an artist myself. I was like, there are so many things that I wish I knew back then, before I entered the industry, not just with dance technique, but how do you read a contract? Like, what is all this contractual language getting into a Broadway production? Someone just hands you this huge contract and you're like, huh? How do you get an agent? When do you get an agent? Why do you get an agent? What's the difference between an agent and a manager? All of these questions about the industry, people were asking me. And I knew because I was a working artist, and I just started realizing, there can be more offered, especially in the college stage, to what we learn as artists that help us own our own careers. Because as an artist, you're in a self-employed contractor. You're not just a dancer or a singer or an actor, right? You are like, you're your own manager, really. And there's a certain like rehearsal etiquette, and learning about unions and why you join them, what they're all about, like all of those things. I just think it was necessary to teach and like, you know what I mean? Like know in college before diving in. Yeah.
Well, that's incredibly admirable. And I feel like you're really getting at something that a lot of people take for granted, which is mentorship. And especially when you come from communities where people, aren't used to someone making it to these certain places, we don't often receive a lot of mentorship. And I think that your role in mentoring is something that will just have like trickle effects everywhere. This is like a beautiful way to blend all of those callings and gifts. And how has that been, being able to not only make this your livelihood, but then to teach others and help it make it their livelihood?
It's so rewarding, um, just on a different level, like to watch them grow, to watch them become artists that are just true professionals, that like, oh, like suddenly they'll have like an aha moment and it clicks for them. Like I have one student that's, training to be a rockette, and her telling me that her kicks have never felt lighter. And to me, that's huge, because longevity is really important. And when you're training wrong, or if you feel like you have been training wrong, which happens a lot of the times, it's detrimental to you being a working artist for a long period of time. So her telling me that like, oh my God, I can kick now with ease, like, great, go and do your 15 show weeks. You know what I mean? This industry can be, not can be, it is very cutthroat, and you need a support system of some kind. And I love that I'm able to not necessarily hold my students' hands, but through the Laroche approach, I get to customize a syllabus by the individual student. Like, what does this particular student need based on their ambitions, based on their goals, and how can we work together to get there? I love that. So, and I think what makes my program really trustworthy is because I'm also a working individual. So I literally go from like auditioning myself to then like booking a job and I'm performing, but then I'm also an associate choreographer. So you'll see me behind the table casting people. So I'm working in every kind of segment.
That your perspective, as you're saying, is so valuable because you don't have an outdated perspective. Your perspective is up to date. um, and that is, I'm sure that everyone who goes through your program appreciates how you are timely with your criticisms or with your support. I just can imagine how helpful that is. And kind of going off of that, so we're talking a lot about how you yourself are an active dancer and you're booking, um, and you're also providing this mentorship component. Do you find that, your program leans more towards dance, supports, or do you feel like there's more of this professional element that you've been refining?
Hmm. Good question. A little professionalism and the development of you, the artist, the individual, and how you can carry your own career, more than it is like, let's focus on dance technique all the time. Mostly about confidence and owning your skill set once you get into that audition room, so that you feel like I am a true triple threat. I can do it all, and I'm going to walk into this room and I'm going to show you what I can do. Me, the professional, the artist. So it's really about that.
Love how in your approach there's this idea of, owning, the times in which we're not kind of meeting our own standards or expectations, but realizing that those are ours to set up and define. And I just love how you were getting at that point, because it's true. I mean, we're so quick to jump on ourselves and be like, why aren't you good enough right now? But there's going to be a lot more down periods in life than those highs. So let's say I just graduated from UB and I have a major in dance, and I want to follow your program and your approach. Walk me through how I could get in contact with you and how I could start learning the Laroche approach.
If you just graduated from college and are like, I want to get in touch with Jenny, go to my website, thelarocheapproach.com. You can email me there. All of my contact information is there. I have an FAQ page. What do you, the individual, want to work on? Do you consider yourself a singer who wants to work on their dancing? Do you consider yourself a dancer who wants to work on their like audition technique, and just like, do you want to learn choreography from the Donna Summer musical that I cast and hire for? Do you want to learn how to be a rockette and the very separate skill set that takes, because I train very extensively in that? Like, where do you see yourself? What do you want to work on? Do you want to do scene work? Do you want to get more acquainted with like reading a script and like how to audition, to walk into an audition room and be the best me professional that I can be? And that's where I will bring you to. But the Laroche Approach now offers seminars for universities because of this whole new virtual world, and like everyone has so many questions about what is our industry looking like post-pandemic, and they're all great questions. The real answer is that no one knows. It's one thing to train for the industry that was, and it's kind of another to train for the industry that we don't know what is. So to be a college student, especially if you're a senior and you're like, what am I about to get into? These seminars have been like huge and great. So that's something I offer. And another thing that I had started this year was my song and dance class. So I was always just like waiting for a class, like someone needs to do like a song and dance class. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm gonna do a song and dance class. So in my private lessons, it's actually really great. I've been getting like good responses. People will do a dance combo, but then I'll also have you sing while you dance. And, that is a good test to see where your stamina is, especially if you haven't been doing much this year, which many of us have not been able to do. But it's also a great way to train and just feel more confident about yourself and your voice and your storytelling capabilities. And then to be able to, when we are back up and, back in the audition game, you could walk into an audition and feel really proud of yourself and own yourself as a true triple threat. So
That's just really exciting, and it's incredible. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. Danceability really appreciates your time and all the incredible things we spoke about today. It's been very insightful and just super exciting.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. Danceability, yay! I love that name, by the way. It's so good.